So my name's Rory. I work with Major Minor and I'm here with Chaser. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hey, how's everybody doing? I'm Bill from Chaser. I play guitar.
Sweet, so I'll just get into the questions. How did you guys meet?
Well, Chaser had been a band around for a while since 2000. So I joined in 2017, and basically I'd been in other bands up to that point, and I was looking for a project that needed a guitar player. And a mutual friend of ours, Chris Manning, who actually runs Soundspeed Records, which is one of our labels. I'd known Chris for years, and so the guys in Chaser. And so yeah, we just kind of hooked up that way, and went in when for a little audition, and it just really felt great. We really vibed, had the same kind of ideas about what we wanted the band to be. Musically, we were really kind of well aligned. So yeah, it was actually a very smooth kind of transition into the band, because we knew a lot of the same people too, so there was a lot of connection just tangentially through kind of the Southern California punk scene.
Yeah, who kind of inspires you guys or
Oh, there's a lot. We actually have a wide variety of inspirations. We're all very much into the kind of 90s, 80s, 90s style punk music from Southern California, West Coast. So like Bad Religion, Pennywise, No Effects, some of the Face to Face, some of the big names are really kind of inspirational to all of us, or big kind of um, people that we really grew up listening to. But I got a lot of my early inspiration from East. I'm an East Coast guy, so I listened to a lot of hardcore music growing up, like
Madball, Agnostic Front?
Agnostic Front. Yes, absolutely. Agnostic Front was one of my first kind of big bands. I was into Minor Threat, Bad Brains. Yeah, so a lot of the New York hardcore stuff, Gorilla Biscuits, all that. So I'm the one guy that's kind of into that stuff, and I still love hardcore. I love some of the new bands, newer. I say new, but like newer for me, like Hatebreed and Tear, and some of the kind of when it went into the more metal. And Agnostic Front was kind of the band that kind of started that kind of crossover. DRI is another band like that too. But yeah, so, and I was a metal guy too. I really loved metal growing up before, kind of along the lines of punk. But I got into punk eventually because I really wasn't good enough to play a lot of metal, like Megadeth. Those guys are just like, I didn't have lessons at the time, and I didn't take lessons until a lot later. So, punk was like the music I could play, and so that was really my kind of like, if I wanted to be in a band, I was like, I got to be in a band that I could play in, and I didn't have the technical skills of some of those metal bands. So,
Yeah. What has been your favorite show that you've played, or one of them? Because I'm sure there's a few.
oh yeah, there's a lot. The first time we went to Europe as a band in 2018, we played Punk Rock Holiday, and it was one of our first shows as a band, actually, because we started playing shows in late 2017, and then we played a couple regional local shows in Southern California, and then our first big trip to Europe. We had not played a ton of shows up to that point, so we were super excited, but also just kind of like, all right, here we go. And so we weren't a really well-known band out in Europe, and so we really wanted to like make a statement. We really wanted to like put on a great performance and really just kind of make our mark as much as possible, because we didn't have a lot of dates in Europe. But Punk Rock Holiday was such a great show, and like the response was just well beyond what we thought we would get, given we're a small band and we weren't really super big or well known in the European punk scene. But yeah, it was just an amazing show, and it's still one of my all-time favorites. It just got out of control, and it was like stage party, and just like it was just a really fun show. Memorable.
What's been your like coolest band you've played with, or one of them?
Coolest band?
Yeah.
Wow. Again, that's a really hard question. We played, for me personally, we played a show in Paris with Agnostic Front, which was a big deal to me. I mean, meeting like Roger and Vinny, those guys are like my heroes, So I usually don't get like super into like fanboy stuff, meeting bands or whatever. But those two guys, for whatever reason, I was like, wow, it felt like a really like cool moment for me, just given how influential they were for me and making me wanted to be in a band more or less. And I told them that, and they were just super nice, just cool guys, And so that's always like a cool experience when you meet one of like your heroes or whatever, and they're just super down to earth and just chilled out and just like really easy to talk to. So that was really cool. And then we played with Pennywise. The last show we did actually before pandemic was we played with Pennywise, a sold out show in Big Bear. And that was those guys are just awesome, man. They're just like really great dudes and just like one of our favorite bands of all time. So that was a really, really cool experience too.
What's one of your favorite things about being in a band?
Traveling. And I love all parts of being in a band. I'm different maybe than some people. I love practicing. You know what I mean? Like I love even the grunt work part of being in a band where like, you do your practicing, you do kind of the songwriting process is sometimes can for some be really tedious, but I love all that stuff. I love getting into the weeds of all the little things, all the, planning that goes into album release and kind of all the talking about things and, tour planning. And then of course I love playing shows and I love touring and I love traveling. And so that's more of the fun stuff, but I love it all, to be honest with you. I just like everything about making music and, we're great friends and we just love being around each other. And that makes it a lot easier. It makes it seem like not a job or a hassle in any way, shape or form. So that's a really good thing. I feel very fortunate about that. Because I've been in bands. Go ahead.
Or no, you go ahead.
I was saying, because I've been in bands where it was harder to be around certain members, so, and every band person has probably felt that way from time to time. So this band is not like that at all. We all just get along really well and it makes it easy.
Speaking of songwriting process, how would you describe yours on the latest album?
Well, there's the songs come into, they come into existence in a couple different ways. Like a lot of times Mike and Jesse will send out some ideas because those two guys kind of start. A lot of times the song will start with them. They'll write a chord progression and they'll kind of write the basic melody. So we always focus on like chord progression and melody first, and so like we'll take it from there, send out really something simple. Hey, what do you think about this kind of chord progression and this melody, and try to like work from the inside out. And then from there, we all start kind of adding in ideas, and we really arrange the songs a lot together. Most of the foundations come from Jesse and Mike. Occasionally I'll start with a riff and I'll send them a riff and say, hey, what do you think about this? Can you lay down a melody to this? And then a lot of times it'll start that way, or some of the songs on the record started that way, where I laid the foundational riff, sent it to them, they came back with a melody, and it kind of grew from there. So, and then we all arrange together. We get together. Once the foundation of the song is laid down, then we all get together and Davey will come up with certain drum parts, and we'll all have ideas on that. We'll have ideas on, little guitar leads, or little, like, Jesse and Mike really are the ones that develop all the harmonies and melodies for the song. And so they'll work individually a lot on their own kind of singing harmonies and melodies. So we kind of work together in pieces on our own. I'll usually write most of the leads for the record kind of on my own. And then we all come back together and kind of figure it out and put it together.
Did the pandemic have any like change in how you recorded this previous album?
Actually, not at all, because we literally finished tracking the record the weekend before everything shut down. So we were very fortunate because we were really in the mix. We recorded the record over about a month at Buzzbomb Studio with Paul Miner in the months, and starting in the end of January, and we finished right early March, and then everything just completely shut down. And so we were very fortunate that it was fully tracked by the time basically all things were closed and we couldn't get together anyway. So that could have been a real disaster to be 60% done and all of a sudden you can't go to the studio anymore, so we are, that worked out luckily.
Since things are starting to like open up now, do you have any plans to tour with the new album, or? Oh
yeah, we are working on that as we speak. Next summer, we were going to go to Europe in 2020. Obviously that didn't happen. We were going to go in 2021, and that didn't happen. And so 2022, we're basically going back to do a lot of the same festivals that we did before and adding some new ones. And we're going to do some club dates. And so we're going to do some Canada shows, I think, next spring or summer. And hopefully we'll get some US dates, and especially in the West Coast region coming in fall. So yeah, we've got a lot of irons in the fire. So hopefully some of that stuff will come to fruition here. We got 2 shows coming up in summer, so that's cool.
How important do you think an all ages scene is in a city?
Wow, it's been so long since I've been connected to the all ages scene. But I think it's really important, man. I'm a bit of a dinosaur, and I know that San Diego had a really, I live in San Diego, the other guys live in Orange County and Riverside. But I know that we used to have a very kind of vibrant all ages, a couple all ages clubs. The Soma was a big one, where they have all ages shows, punk shows back in the day, back in kind of the Epitaph days. And I don't know, I think a lot of those venues had, at least in our town, in my town, had a lot of trouble just staying open because they weren't able to generate revenue. And so a lot of that stuff kind of went underground a little bit. You had house parties and people doing underground shows. And I still think that's probably in our city, my city anyway, is probably still where most of the all ages scene happens. Yeah, because all ages clubs are just really hard to keep open. From just friends I've had that have been involved in that, it's hard to hire people because the revenue stream is so kind of precarious, and so it's not, I don't think it's a lack of, they don't want to provide a scene for kids or people under 21. It's that it's just economically it's very difficult to do it.
Well, to wrap it up, what advice do you have for young bands and musicians that you wish someone told you?
I would say, just it's wow. I'd say if you're really passionate about it, just try to surround yourself with musicians who have the same work ethic as you, the same goals as you, because every band has different goals and every person has different goals in terms of what they want to achieve in music. For a lot of the friends that I have in music over the years, their goal is they wanted to be a local band and that's what they wanted to do. And there's certainly nothing wrong at all with that goal, as long as you all share the goal and you all have a common purpose, and you can have a really successful musical, outlet in that way. If you want to be a touring band, then you need I would say you need people that have your kind of work ethic and have your kind of commitment that it takes to really take it to the touring level. And so I'd say whatever your goal is in music, find some like-minded individuals that really want to do the things that you want to do, because that's where that you can avoid conflicts. The biggest conflicts happen when one person's pushing and putting in the work to try to get to that level, and the other guys or gals are just kind of riding along and you're going for the ride, more or less. It breeds a lot of resentment. So I would say whatever your goal is in music, find like-minded individuals. You want to be a local band, you want to be a band that just plays in the garage for fun, or you want to be a touring band. As long as everybody's on the same page, you'll have a great time and you'll really it'll be fulfilling for you.
Well, sweet. Thank you for coming out and taking the time to do the interview.
Well, thank you, Rory. I really appreciate it, man.
Hopefully we get to see you in Calgary for an all ages show when you start touring.
I cannot wait. We'll be there.
All right, sweet. Thank you so much.
All right, Rory. Bye-bye.